welcome to We're Not Wizards. We are the best, but not wizards. Enjoy the show!
When I was younger, that like by the time I reached the age of 50, because you joke, you think, that'll never ever happen. That people used there used to be people that used to be like, I says, I don't like many things. I don't like being called the D word. What would you mean, dick? and then I went, oh no, but at the time I'm 50, it'll be fine. I'll just be good old dick. and And now I'm 50. I'm not interested.
You're a good old dick.
I'm not wanting it. I'm not wanting it. You can keep it. You can take it back. Anyway.
Don't you think, though, that, like, 50, when you were 10, what 50 looked like versus now what 50 looks like now you're 50? Very, very different look.
It's,
you know, when I was 10,
a
50-year-old looked like an 80-year-old looks now.
I know. But then you did a hard shift.
I don't look like an early 40s guy.
You look a bit early.
Other than the grey hair, you know.
No. But then there was that's that famous scene in Father of the Bride where you've got like Steve Martin sitting with Diane Keaton, I think it is. And they're basically their parents in their 40s. But she's like wearing like a granny twin sweater vest. And he's like wearing kind of like a cardigan and an old man's suit. Now I'm wearing a cardigan just now.
I was gonna say,
you know
the beauty, you're setting yourself up. I mean, I don't even have to try anymore. You couldn't be wearing a more 50-year-old's cardigan if you tried right now.
Shut up. You know? Shut up. Do you know what?
It's a very, very lovely woolen knitwear.
It is a lovely look. I think that's, it's practical. It's not too heavy. It's not too thick. Shut up. Hope you choke.
Right. I mean, now you're getting into another bit. That's how much do you appreciate in your life because of their practicality?
I mean,
that's definitely something as you grow. You're just like,
right. Okay.
You know,
do you know what
I want it to do.
Do you know what happened this morning?
I've never heard of a cardigan being practical, but
it's got pockets in it, and the pockets, right? They're
it's
not
got pockets. I mean, fucking hip hooray!
No,
Jesus Christ!
Listen, right?
I mean, what a win for the upholstery business.
Pockets,
not upholstery.
They're not. These pockets aren't sideways. They open at the top. So it's not
as they do on cardigans. Yeah.
But the pockets, pockets are generally
down pockets,
but these pockets, most pockets on my other cardigans that I've got come in at the sides, whereas the ones that I've got here, my favourite one. This isn't my
They're for storage pockets.
This
not
isn't
hand
my
pockets.
favourite one. You can put stuff in there, and when you bend over, it's not going to fall out because it takes longer to bend over now.
But do you also, if you put too much in there, does the front of your cardigan turn into like a wrecking ball? As it just suddenly swings and just takes out whatever was in front of you.
Go near my nephews because they're quite young. They're that age. I mean, Jake's obviously quite tall, and my other two are like obviously almost. Well, one of them's taller than me, the other one's not. But yeah, I mean, there is potentiality for. I mean, even if I meet somebody I know, and if I'm going the wrong way, then if I've got too much stuff in my pockets, I mean, there is particular potential groinal damage going on as my pocket swings. Anyway, do you know I realised I was there because it's like it takes a while to accept it because I think when you're opening up cards. Because I was like, I'm 50, I'm ready for 50, I'm ready for 50. I was not ready to open up birthday cards that I had. Because you open them, you slide them out. And for years it's been the 4. There's always been, it's the 4, or it's just happy birthday, because you don't get birthday cards for 48 and 47 unless you spend some actual money on people. And I must admit, opening up that first card that had the 50 on it was soul destroying. It was worse than anything else. It was worse than the kidney stone, which I'm pretty sure did have the ping. But the other thing there's a couple of things I thought, have I accepted it? And the first thing, I'll tell you what, I did accept it, was went out today and there was black ice all over the pavements, right? Walking the dog. So after I walked the dog, right, and my gloves are still on, I washed Arlo down, put him in the kitchen, went out, went into my shed, got a bucket, went to the local grit bin, right, filled it up with some grit with my little hand shovel, and then started spraying the grit on the pavements, to try and break down this black ice. I then, oh my goodness, I need to be put down. I then went onto Facebook, into the estate Facebook group, and put a thing saying, "Watch it, everybody, there's black ice outside, especially for those walking dogs." And I was like, here we go.
Is that what, so you got like a local one for the estate? So you haven't got, it's your...
Yeah, we have a local one for the estate.
So we get like village ones, obviously.
Yeah,
so you
obviously.
get so-and-so social, like ours is Hilgi social.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm also a member of Soam social, or whatever the hell that one's called. And then I'm kind of a member of, I think I'm a member of 4 different.
Yeah, I was one. There's the bigger one. There's the bigger one.
Do they all just not break down into who left this dog shit here? That's all they are. It's just somebody didn't clean up.
Oh,
after
there's
their
totally
St. Bernard,
there
which
totally
clearly left
is,
this
like...
steaming mound of.
It's like Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. That's an awful. That's a big pile of shit.
Yeah, exactly what it is. It's always like, and it's the same
single
argument
time
that comes up, and then it's always either like my lady wife commenting, going,
I'm just gonna look on the Hilgi social one and see how far I get.
It's probably a
it goes
cat.
to a dog shit one.
No, I mean, the one's like, somebody's like, it's terrible and awful that somebody's letting their dog poo in my front garden. And it's like, nobody is letting their dog poo in your front garden. What they're doing, it's a cat pooing in your front garden because they don't care.
Actually, I've also just realised...
you're a member of 5 of them. And you're the admin in 3 of them.
There's somebody's circled where it was, flicked on the church path. Our Hilgi social has just turned into, also over the Christmas and holiday period, whose front door is this? Because this is my package and that's not my front door. Honestly, like 5 of them a day.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Between every Yodel and Royal Mail, they've just turned Hilgi into like a treasure hunt, kind of.
It's absolutely fantastic. The second flag that I knew I was 50 was that basically I got because you're getting packages and stuff like that, and they're still getting kind of like reviews and things like that coming through, and I got like an official looking letter, but it wasn't just a letter; it was a quite thick thing, and it was basically from the Bowel Cancer Screening Prevention Organisation in Scotland. And then inside there was a couple of letters, an instruction booklet, and there was a little jiffy bag and a little plastic device. And they were basically saying, now you're 50, what we want you to do is we want you to basically put some poo on this stick and send it back to us.
Lovely.
I was just like, what's that all about?
They will also want to stick their finger up your bum.
I know,
regularly.
but I mean that's I guess is okay. I mean, each to their own. Yeah. So that's that's great. That I know nobody warns you of that. I mean, I've had an entire year of Facebook of people who I knew, born in this year, who were turning 50, and not one of them went, "Oh, by the way, lads, you're about to get a letter coming through asking you to go poo in a stick."
Also, you got. Are you getting Saga stuff yet?
No.
Because that's coming. It's coming.
No, it's not.
You're on the list now, or you're at least on the waiting list for Saga. You've been moved one spreadsheet across.
That's it. I'm in the new age group, isn't it? That's the new tick box now. What age are you? And it's like, are you 36 to 49 or 50 to dying? That's what it is now.
Have you started considering coach trips with other people?
I was looking at Abergavenny.
Yeah, nice little.
No, was it?
Nice little coach trip to Abergavenny.
You know, I'm expecting a couple of
Grumblies.
letters. It's like we can get over 50s life insurance, and for that you get this lovely set of crystal glasses.
Oh, you don't get a carriage clock and a Parker pen. You know?
Do people even know what a carriage clock is? That'd be amazing. No,
If you're our age, you remember Parkinson saying, "If you sign up for this today, you'll get a carriage clock or this lovely Parker pen." You know,
nowadays it's
not a
all
terrible
Amazon.
Parkinson impression. That.
I don't know. And Johnny makes I don't know. So this is a whole.
I haven't seen a carriage clock for a good while. I haven't had relatives old enough for a long time. So
I think
I remember carriage clocks very vividly, and I know
they were gorgeous.
I know certainly my gran and granddad definitely had one. That very hypnotic swinging back and
balls.
forth in the bottom of the glass.
Swinging balls.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any point to that because everybody would be on their mobile phone. Nobody would actually sit captivated. I remember you used to like kind of count in your head when it was coming back round and stuff like that. Gently being mindful to yourself, thinking your thoughts, while little silver spherical balls went round in their own little orbit. And you weren't allowed to touch it. You got a couple of types. You got the type they actually had like a glass protective case over it.
I've only ever seen them with a glass.
I just wondered what the hell that was for. What was it protecting?
It's to preserve your beautiful timepiece. I mean, they were exquisite things. Yeah.
So 50 so far. So I mean, it's been pretty good. Got my Steam Deck. Got a couple of Transformers.
Did you?
Yeah, I got a Transformer. I was like, it's been a glorious kind of couple of weeks for getting presents and stuff like that. It's been absolutely fantastic. So I'm kind of enjoying it. It's turned out to be quite a year. What's this?
£33 on Amazon.
What, for a carriage clock?
Yeah. Look at that beauty. I don't know if you can see it very well. Look at that beauty.
That's amazing.
To be fair, the balls look a lot smaller than I remember.
I thought it was a hefty set of balls you used to get on a good carriage.
My nan's had massive balls.
I know. The only ones I remember was the
swinging
screen.
pendulous balls.
Exactly. I don't get it. It's the Game of the Year show. Welcome to the We're Not Wizards. Welcome to the We're Not Wizards Game of the Year show. My name is Richard.
My name is Luke.
That was almost Darth Vader. It's the time of year. I've not even had any whiskey as well. Did you? That's the other thing I got. I got and got a bottle of whiskey.
You didn't. Hang on. What for Hogmanay? You didn't drink a drop.
I had 30 mils.
Is that because you're like legally obliged to have 30 mils?
Because I was just testing the water to see what
I've got
like.
a quake.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I've got one. Obviously, you know what I mean.
What a quake is. Yeah, it's a traditional Scottish wedding present as well that you used to get. You don't use it for anything else.
It's a wedding present?
Yeah.
I was given it by an ex's parents. We weren't.
Oh.
I went up for Hogmanay one year.
Oh, right, maybe it was. It's just a traditional present.
They had it as a thing you pass around at midnight or at some point in the
I've seen it as a wedding present for a while. People use it for all different kind of celebrations. Things usually get engraved. Yeah. Ooh. So there you go. So yeah, I had a little bit of whiskey. Tastes awful, by the way.
I fucking hate whiskey.
It's just awful.
I desperately want to like it, or like a brown liquor, but I just don't like dark liquors.
It's an aftertaste job, basically. It's like you'll have a sip, and you've really got to let it just sit in your mouth and do its business. and then you get all the subtle aftertaste.
Yeah, spitting it out doesn't quite work. Yeah.
No, it's not like a red wine. Not that I drink wine anyway. Anyway, talking of vintages, it's been a bit of a vintage.
So you had a whiskey despite not liking whiskey?
I had a whiskey to try it because I'm 50, so I've got to try whiskey. It's
So
either
you
that.
thought, yeah. To be fair, it could easily be one of those things you suddenly go, oh, actually, I kind of get the complexities of this. Although Savage said that, what whiskey was this? Because if it was a friggin' drop of bells or something like that, then...
No, it was a 10-year bourbon cask Jura. Single.
That's a Jura.
Single,
That's a good whiskey, I think, as far as I'm aware.
Exactly. It was going cheap in Tesco's, and I thought I'll have some of that. It was down from... I'm like Scottish, isn't it? Down from £36 to 22, and I went, well, I'm gonna have that. That looks quite good.
I'll spend 22 quid on this thing I don't like.
Exactly. Let's face it, I've spent more than 22 quid on other things that I don't like, you know. So that's kind of fair enough. Fair. That's fair enough. We're gonna start. People are going, oh, I thought you were doing board games again. You were doing so well, and then we're gonna. I think we're gonna start.
I like to derail things.
You do. We're gonna start proceedings. We're gonna start proceedings with our first section of the show, which is honourable mentions.
Am I starting with this?
I think you would like to start. Yes, will you start first? Just give us the games.
This is my. So, I believe last year when we did this, I hadn't played enough new games to justify a list of 2023. So I kind of threw in my just discovered this game kind of thing. So it's still a perfectly valid list for me, at least. Yeah. But I've actually done quite well this year. So I had no issue in making I thought I was going to do the same this year, but I actually did more than well enough. So yes, I've got some nice honourable mentions, and 2 of these would have been in the top 10. Oh. Were they included?
All right, okay.
I've long been an admirer of trick-taking games, but my brain apparently doesn't like trick-taking games, and I just could never get my head around them. I'd enjoy them, but I knew I was ultimately shite at them. And then at Aircon, I was introduced to Cat in a Box. Oh. And it was a very hallelujah moment for me regarding trick-taking games and also my friends. So I have played Cat in a Box, which is an interesting take on trick-taking games.
You have also spoken
fundamentally
about Cat in the Box.
Fundamentally it is a trick-taking game, but it has more bells and whistles to it, and it does some clever things, but fundamentally it works like any other trick-taking game in the roar of it. And yeah, me and my friends just absolutely love it. I have bought 3 copies now of Cat in a Box because I bought my own, and then I bought 2 friends Cat in a Box because they all liked it so much as well. So I have evangelized Cat in a Box. No problem, Bezier. You can put the check in the post. And my other game was one I had wanted to play for I've got 2 other games actually. Yeah. My other game is one I'd wanted to play for a long time, and it's certainly on the wave of the Knizia renaissance that we are in. And this one was called Nightmare Productions, and I had the luck of being taught Nightmare Productions at Aircon Northwest. And I absolutely love it, and I will get myself a copy of it when I see it for the right price. Much like a bottle of 10-year-old Jura. If I see it for the right price, I'll pick it up. And Nightmare Productions is a Reiner Knizia bidding game where you're setting up, you're building productions of horror movies, and throughout the game you're bidding on the various components of said horror movie, be it the director, the soundtrack, the big bad guy, monster, locations, etc., etc. And it's just fabulous. It has a what's the word for it? Where the money never leaves, the money never gets the amount of money in the game. It's got a
contained economy, basically.
Thank you. Yes. So it's got a contained economy. When you bid on something and you win it, if you win it for 12 million or whatever it is, and there's 3 other players. They each get 4 million quid, or bit gets carried over or whatever. So the money never, no money ever enters or leaves the game afterwards. It's just a case of who's holding it at any point. So you've got this really good timing as to what you want to bid on and where you want to, kind of get your money back, and just so goddamn good. I absolutely loved it. It's a real proper, as you know, like I say, I love the game above the table. Fucking fabulous. And there's another game, the other honourable mention is a game called Skate Summer, which was a game I just absolutely fell in love with. It was one I'd heard good things about, had completely passed it by. I'd seen it, and I knew it was, trying to do the whole kind of Jet Set Radio kind of look about it. But I kind of looked at it, was like, yeah, cool, game about skateboarding, could give a toss. I care very little about it. And then I played. I'd heard such good things, and then for Aircon, same Aircon that I got introduced to Cat in a Box, I had picked up a copy because someone was selling one for a really good price. So I thought, I hear enough good things, I'll give it a whirl. Somebody else had brought their copy, Mr. Dan Hughes, I believe it was. So I said, well, I've just picked up a copy. Could you teach it? And he said he would, which is hard to do because Dan is so reluctant to teach, despite being very good at teaching games. And I was just so enamoured and blown away by it. It's just such a fabulously fun game. And then I also introduced it to Mr. Matthew Jude. I think was one of the last things I did before I left Aircon that year. And he was like, Jesus Christ, this is quite definitely my game of the convention. He was completely enamoured by it as well, And it's a real fun, push your luck sort of set collecty, not set collect, like a deck building kind of thing. It's brilliant. It's just such a bloody great game. It just doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just really good fun. It's an absolutely fantastic game. Love it. So there you go. There's my honourable mentions.
My honourable mentions are... I'm going to be quite quick on these ones. Imperial Miners from Portal Games.
I've nearly picked that up a few times.
It's a lovely little kind of building up an engine builder type of a game. As long as you don't mind playing it by yourself, regardless of the number of people that you're playing with.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. I've spoken about it before.
Yeah, multiplayer solitaire.
There's absolutely multiplayer solitaire, so there's nothing to make me want to corral 4 or 5 people together to play this game, because all it does at the end of the day is it just increases the length of time that you're playing it. However, as a game itself, I did enjoy the time that I spent with it, so that was pretty cool. The next one, now this is only missing off the list or not hitting the top 10 because the first time I played it was today. But it's World Wonders.
Oh yes.
Fantastic.
Very good game.
It's fantastic. I was absolutely delighted with how it played, how easy it is to play, how tricky, puzzly, spatially awareness it is, and I managed to land the pyramids as well.
Pyramids.
So I was very, very happy with that. But yeah. Next one, Imperium Horizons.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow. They're a bit clunky and a bit heavy.
Yeah, but I like the crunch.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm with you. I got rid of mine because it was too, I wasn't playing it enough to be able to just sit down and play it often enough that I wasn't just like, oh God, what is it? What have I got to do again?
Yeah.
There was too much of that, so I kind of just passed mine on.
Yeah.
But I kind of would have liked to have just left it in my collection.
Yeah,
I like what it tries to do.
I'm pretty much the same. I like what it's trying to do. I like the new kind of it opens up kind of like trade and stuff like that. It's literally Imperium Horizons is more Imperium. Yeah. Whether it be Imperium Classics or Imperium Legends, it's more Imperium. And it is one of the games I think I'm going to just keep and hold on to, because I'm fascinated of how it plays. And it's one of these games that you go, oh, this is really, really complicated. And then you start playing it, and within 15, 20 minutes, you're like, actually, it's not as complicated as I thought it was. So that's why, and that's why I like to kind of mention it.
It has some people have done some very good cheat sheets and like stuff for like the different cultures and civilizations, stuff that make it a lot more bearable, you know.
Yeah.
Have you just got Horizons?
No, I've had Horizons for a while. I've had it.
No, but no. But I mean, is that the only one you've got?
No, I've got them all. I've got classics and I've got legends. So I've got the full. I've got everything fitting in the full Horizons box. My only issue with Horizons is the fact that they had an amazing opportunity to make Horizons the one box that you put everything in, and they put in this really kind of silly, kind of clear plastic insert, which doesn't make it easier for you to kind of like store the cards or anything like that. Rather than having nice cardboard slots where you could just add on more and more cards, it's got this kind of pre-molded kind of selection slots for all the cards, so it doesn't always... Yeah, just a bit of a miss. Slightly annoying.
Why can't companies just sort your shit out when it comes to inserts?
No,
especially when it's one that's collating stuff like that. It's just like, just make it so you can add more stuff to it.
Yeah, just like one box.
Just make it simple.
Yeah.
And just stop trying to be fancy and clever with it. Just make it simple and do its bloody job, whether they're sleeved or not, because God alive, if you make an insert that people can't put sleeve cards in, prepare to have your firstborn killed in at a summer solstice or something by whoever, because sleevers don't fuck about.
It's like Maury getting whacked in in Goodfellas. Yeah, he's going to be all right. Let's forget that thing. And then later in the car, screwdriver in the back of the head. And he's gone. It's like, yeah, you'll make sure your next game can be sleeved. Two more. First one is Slide, which I think I mentioned the other day. Numbers, putting them together.
Oh, yes.
Lovely little kind of casual game. I can see why some people would like it. So I see why probably a lot of people will not like it as well, because it is very, very kind of luck dependent. But it is a nice little kind of, it's like a little hot towel that you get at the end of a meal. You know, you can just put it on your face and your hands and stuff like that. And and it's a lovely little kind of end to an evening. And the last one...
Is that because you went for a curry the other night that's in your head?
Yeah, I went for the curry last night.
Because I can only think of it ever having gone for a curry.
No,
that's
it was
what you were saying.
No, it was brilliant. I went for the best curry.
A curry or a long haul flight?
I went for an amazing curry. I went with all the people that I know from the local kind of board game club that I'm quite close with. And we just had the best night. And the meal arrived really quickly. The starters were like, we ordered the starters and they just arrived very quickly. And then the main courses came almost kind of like immediately after we had finished. It was just a really, really lovely time. And I got a bottle of champagne and I got a couple of other presents, and I was blown away by the generosity of people that were there. I was genuinely touched, you know.
That's lovely.
You know, so I was a happy person last night.
What's your curry of choice at a curry house?
A Rogan Josh. I had a Rogan Josh. I had a tandoori tikka last night though, a lamb tandoori tikka, and it was a bit spicy hot, but it was fine. It was lovely. Chicken pakora. Give me that. I gotta watch it. I've got to be careful. I can't have a naan because otherwise I just explode. You know. And the last one that I'm going to mention on honourable mentions is Mythic Mischief.
Oh yeah, you've only just discovered Mythic Mischief.
Yeah, I've had it for a while, and I've played it kind of a little bit back and forth, but I just have to mention it because it is a cracking good time. Yeah, it is cracking good time.
I've got all the second stuff, which is about the groundskeeper and stuff. It's exactly the same, but they added some new class mates and the groundskeeper instead, and they're out in the garden rather than in the library stuff. I haven't played any of it yet. I really must do. I should introduce it to Elliot because I think
he'd love it.
Yeah,
it's such a simple premise. My son, last time I played it was with my son a couple of days ago. He hated the tie reason because the tie reason was basically if you tie at the end of the game, it's the person that's collected the least tomes.
Oh,
And he hated that. He's
that
like,
makes sense.
He's like, you're encouraged to collect everything to upgrade your people.
It's just true. But if you've won with the least amount of extra goodies, then you have done better.
He hated it. He's like that. I really like this game, but also hate this game kind of simultaneously. So that's that's my kind of honourable mentions. One of the other things we also do is we normally have an award that we just make up on the spot, but this is last year we talked about, I think we put together we mentioned kind of Mantic for going above and beyond with regards to Dungeon Saga Origins. This year we want to mention a company that just seems to be continually hitting it kind of out the park in terms of what they're bringing to the table in both quality, fun, joy,
like I say,
and just
2 of their games are hitting my list in a very short while. So
we just wanted to. It was a kind of what we call it's the Dothing our cap at Ye award, basically, because we're doffing our caps or we're flapping our cardies. Hachette Games.
Adjust my cars.
Hachette Games, basically.
Just keep producing brilliant games, like or bringing brilliant games to the market, you know, or highlighting because Hachette's kind of a lot of the games come from smaller publishers, sort of under the umbrella of Hachette, don't they? Like it's Gigamic or it's Sorry We're Not French or something like that, you know. But they're just fucking brilliant. Just like even the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, that was fine. Yeah, it's fine in a Hachette level, which makes it almost 3 steps above somebody else level. If you see what I mean, it's like, you know, their average is much higher than everybody else's average. You know, they set their own bar so high and constantly jump over or near it. It's impressive.
They're part of a bigger organisation, so as far as
Hachette is a massive.
As far as resources go and stuff like that, they have got like maybe deeper pockets than a lot of distributors and publishers, but they're going up against Asmodee and the likes of that. And they're holding.
Have you been making a remote control car in 3,000 pieces over one week?
Exactly.
Probably from Hachette.
But they've been so hats off to them just for what they're kind of delivering. Like they continue like stomp the plank. You know, just little.
I won't mention names because
there is games that we're going to be doing on. So that's we do.
Or previous games. So like Acropolis, fantastic game.
Darwin,
like all the I haven't played the Darwin one, but then all of the little abstract ones, like Corridor is one of them.
Pac-Man Corridor,
and then there's Pac-Man Corridor's fine, but I Corridor I think Corridor is better as Corridor than it is Pac-Man Corridor. But there's a really cool, I never know the names of these ones, but there's a really cool one where you're doing like it's like you got to get 3 in a row or something like that, but you choose the next piece for your opponent to play.
Yes.
I can't remember what the hell that one's called, but that one's really good. And then the one with the kind of look like burgers.
Yeah, I think that's Quahali.
Quahali, that's it. Yeah, that's really good. They're all really good. And
next year
I've heard really good things about Looot. Is it Looot? I've always heard that's a really nice game.
Yeah.
And then look what they've done recently, like Shackleton's Base.
Yes.
Like there's a whole bunch of games that if I'd played, there's a very good chance they'd have been on this top 10 list. Like Doggerland looks really good. Shackleton's Base is apparently really good.
There's a lot of the Sorry We Are French kind of stuff, the Ganymedes and stuff like that, you know.
Oh, Ganymede's brilliant. Ganymede was one that Flav introduced me to. I really like Ganymede. Yeah.
So that, as I say, that's special. Just a shout out. We know that,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing, kids.
Knocking it out of the park.
Doing well. Shall we hit into our top 10, or do you want to do very quickly what we're looking to get forward to in the future?
No, we'll do that at the end. We'll finish with
that.
Okay. As it is for the following year.
Starting at number 10, Do you want to go first? You can go first this time because I went.
Yeah, I'll
first
go
last
first
time.
if you want. I'll go first.
You go first. You go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah,
you
go
go
right.
first.
Okay, no problem. I'll
Good.
do it now.
Thanks. Great. Over and out.
So my first.
Are you going
one
first then?
at-
Right. Okay, that's good.
Well, I'm going 10th. I'm going 10.
Oh, 10.
Right.
Okay, not
10.
first though.
Yeah, I'll go 10.
10 first.
No, not first. That
Not
would be
first
stupid
10.
to start with the first one.
Who's on first?
It gets progressively worse. You know, no,
Yes,
who's on
exactly.
third?
I think the thing to say is, while this is a top 10, it's literally top 10. It's top 10 kind of games that have kind of like turned my head. So
Have you not played all of these games?
I have
that you're
played all
about
of
to say?
these games. I've played all
Oh,
these,
that's
yes,
all
all games that I've played, but it's also, I'm not necessarily saying that one is better than the other, or maybe I am.
Oh, I am.
I probably am, in all fairness.
That's why I put them in a list.
Yeah, I guess. In a numerical
Ordered
list
10
as well.
to 1.
Otherwise, you would have
Yeah.
put them to A to like A to H or whatever.
Yes.
Something like that. Or
And
J.
it's a tier list then. No,
No, it's a tier
we're not doing
list.
tier lists and
No.
all that bollocks.
No.
We're not some YouTube hipster. No.
Yeah. Are
No,
you
no.
want to get
No,
on
no,
with
no.
it then? Are you just going to continue
Yeah, all right.
procrastinating?
Number 10.
Right, okay.
Number 10.
Number 10. When you're
So
ready.
he's a Hachette game.
Okay, here we go.
Straight off the bat. The lovely little Hessian filler, Courtisans.
Oh, lovely.
I really enjoy Courtisans. I think it's a really nice, simple game. It's a good family game. Anybody can teach Courtisans, and you know, if you're not picked up every day in a special minibus, you can learn how to play Courtisans. it's nice.
If
It's
you
simple.
go,
It's
are you
really
saying
good
that
fun.
construction workers won't be able to play
Probably
Courtisans?
not.
'Cause
I mean,
they're
I've met
picked
some
up in it.
construction. I mean, some of my mates are plasterers and construction workers,
And they would struggle with
probably not.
Courtisans.
Yeah,
Probably put
probably.
plaster
Yeah.
in it.
No, Courtisans just great. It's just you know, it's a really good game above the table. It's really simple. Get 3 cards, play 3 cards, 1 to you, 1 to the middle, and 1 to somebody else. And in the middle, you're trying to, out of the 5 families that hold court, you're trying to make them either in or not in favour of the court by having cards above or below their the stupid Hessian little map
You
thing.
really don't like this.
Yeah, brilliant.
It looks
Just
looks
cracking,
lovely.
cracking little filler game.
It looks
Yeah, it's
lovely.
great.
And it's really, really
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, lovely artwork, really nice to produce, lovely like
Yeah.
gold embossing on the cards, and just infinitely nicer produced than it has any need to be. You know,
But it's also-
still
it's
somehow
really
cheap
easy.
enough that it justifies the game price, as it were.
Well, it's really easy to bring somebody new in as well. The
Oh,
thing with a lot of
completely,
these games is you can, you know, there's no advantage really on playing the game before. You can set somebody down with a new player and they don't feel like they're 4 turns behind everybody else, basically.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, it's a game like say you were at a family Christmas or whatever, and there's 20 people in the house and 5 of you sit down to play Courtisans, and then Uncle Jimmy comes out of the toilet that he's been in for 30 minutes, and he sits down at the end of the table with his port. He could sit there and watch you play the game.
Yeah.
Not have a single person explain a rule
Yeah.
or say what the game's theme is, and I guarantee within about 5 turns he'd fully understand what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's a
absolutely.
sign of a really good, fillery, family, accessible game.
So that's Courtisans, which is Luke's number 10.
Number 10.
My number 10 is maybe the most controversial one for this entire list, but I was going to say Stamp Swap
Ah,
because it's the epitome of kind of like take that, as far as I'm concerned. There's so much interaction in this game that it's the whole kind of I pick, right, I'm going to pick these. All right, then I've got to divide these, and then you've got to pick which ones of my pile you want, and then which ones of my pile I get to keep. And it works around the table, and it looks lovely, and people are going to absolutely despise it because it's very, very take that, but it's the first real kind of take that-y game that I would say that Stonemaier have done. and I want to see some more of it because I like that. But I just enjoy. I kind of joked at the time that I didn't like it. But it's gonna stay because I think, unlike Tapestry and everything else that's out there from Stonemaier, I feel like, especially like Wingspan, I'm going to sit this down, and if I play it with 3 players, and these 3 players, we're all going to end up either hating each other or fighting outside. I kind of like that kind of, and it's not nasty. It's just a case you can kind of look across the table at somebody and say, I'm taking all of these are mine, and then take them back and put them out. And I just kind of like that. So I'm going to keep it in the collection because I want to see how it plays out over more plays, different players and stuff like that. But it's been
one of those ones I've heard nobody talking about.
Yeah.
In the sort of social medias.
Yeah.
My algorithm is stamp swap free.
It is stampless.
Stampless. Yeah. Electronically tagged, no stamp.
What is your number 9?
My number 9 goes back to our previous pat on the back, well done, doff our cap year.
Oh, here we go.
So my number 9 is Halo Flashpoint.
Oh, hello.
Which was always going to be kind of a liked game for me because it comes from Dead Zone, which is a previous, which is an original Mantic game, and then they've kind of, for the most part, pretty much completely made Dead Zone into Halo, with some minor tweaks to it. You know, for the most part, it's still the same game, and it's brilliant. It's just so good. Dead Zone or Halo, it plays on a really small player area. Yeah. So it's not. It doesn't take up loads of space. You know, like a 6x4 massive board. You could easily, most of the time, just have four minis aside. So equally, not a huge amount you got to do there. Comes a really nice or coloured cardboard cutout terrain, which is really nicely done. I love Mantic rules. At the best of times for the miniatures game, they do some really cool things where they don't, like, one of the biggest problems with a lot of miniatures games over the years is like, mine's toughness 7 versus your, I'm strength 7 versus your toughness 3. Yeah, okay, so you look up on the chart. Toughness 7, okay, right, 3 pluses. Okay, so I've got 3 pluses. But I've got a armor buff, so you actually have 4 pluses. You roll 4 pluses, right? Okay, well my armor is 3 plus. Well no, yeah, but I've got legendary weapons, so actually that's -1. Okay, so I'm armor, so 4 pluses. With Mantic, almost all of their games do this really clever systems. They often work on D8s, which is quite a nice it's quite a nice dice to use rather than D6s. But the D8, so what you'll often do is you start every roll with 3 dice. So you've got a target number. That's it. So whatever your skill is in that thing you're trying to do, be it 4 plus, be it 5 plus, be it whatever, you're just gonna try and get as many successes as you can on the amount of dice that you've got. So you'll start with 3 dice, and then your amount of dice will go up or down based on factors. So, like, if you in Halo, if you're crouching and you're shooting, you get +1 dice because you're sort of you're aimed. If the person you're shooting at is fully out in the open, you get 2 extra dice. Yeah. So all you're doing, and these kind of things that you've got to add or take away dice based on. In your head really super quick, because it's really, really easy and kind of obvious. So you're not having to look up at charts or anything like that. There's only kind of like, in shooting, I think 3 or 4 reasons as to why you would get extra dice. And the person being shot at, there's like 1 reason they'll get an extra dice. So, like I say, you're not referring to charts. The only thing I'd say is that there's loads of keywords based on your different Spartans and stuff like that. and they didn't produce a cheat sheet for it for keywords. It really pisses me off that they did do that, because there's too many.
Yeah.
And you keep just sort of going, oh, hang on, what one's that one? What is that one? So you do keep referring to the rulebook for that. But it's still early days, so I probably will get the hang of that. Most of them aren't all that complicated. But the way that the whole game works, it's also a measureless miniatures game, which is brilliant. So it all works on cubes. All the terrain is based on a 3x3 inch cube. And then, so if your person has a speed of 2, they can move 2 cubes. If they sprint, they'll move 3 cubes, etc. If they've got a range, they might have a range of 5, so you count 5 cubes, So you're never having to, then also the kind of cover, as to whether somebody's in line of sight. They've tried to keep it as kind of simple as possible. So they've basically said, well, there's a silhouette from the base, the width of the base, straight up to the tip of the person's head. So, and then you imagine like a door, essentially. So like a rectangle that's that wide, flat at the top. Anything that sticks outside of that is not within a line of sight. So yeah, so really good. Did a cracking job with that whole sort of streamlining of it, making it very clear. Yeah, Halo Flashpoint is a fabulous minis game. Really good.
I've seen it like in Accent Games. So I'm really kind of tempted to kind of maybe jump in it, because I actually seen people playing it and they managed to get the game done within the 2 and a bit hours when they were at the local kind of board game group as well. So that's kind of encouraging too.
Yeah, me and Elliot did a learning game, me teaching him proper, and we didn't do the kind of, it comes with a really nice little like poster fold out mat kind of thing that's got like a normal size board on one side, but then on the other side it's got a reduced one with all of the rules around it.
Oh, cool.
So there is a cheat sheet, but it's on the back of that. So
right, okay.
It's very stupid. But that's a really good way of doing it. Because I knew Dead Zone well enough, I didn't think we needed to kind of go through that. I think the first game with him being completely introduced to it was like 2 hours.
That's pretty good.
A full 4x4. 4 against 4 Slayer game.
Good stuff.
Yeah, really good.
My number 9 is Castle Combo.
Number 9. Oh, Castle Combo. Just fucking Hachette. More Hachette.
It's Hachette up the ass, basically. It's everywhere. We can't. You should got it, I've played Castle Combo in BGA, and my complaint about BGA is always the same thing, is that it isn't very, very easy to see what your opponent's cards are doing. I think I brought this up when I was mentioning it, that I have been playing it. However, I played it today in the flesh for the first time.
Really? First
time played it in the flesh after playing it kind of numerous times on BGA. And it's very, very good in a in-person kind of situation, which sounds weird, but I mean, I generally, if it's a game that I like the look of, I'll try it on BGA if it's available. And then, but the thing with Castle Combo is you literally need, it's like Courtisans, you need to have things right in front of you, so you can look at it and
100%.
say, all right, so you need the night stuff. Well, I'm gonna buy this card so you can, or I'm gonna refresh this entire row so you can kind of get it. And the fact that it's like you're building a tableau of 9 cards and that's it. And that means literally that there's always only going to ever be 9 rounds. The artwork is absolutely lovely. The iconography is fine. I think there was a couple of edge. It's very good. There was a couple of edge cases today. We weren't 100% sure what was meant to be done, but as far as, it's a definite kind of, this is one that I'll probably actually pick up myself, because I can see me and the youngest actually playing it, because it's going to be that kind of game, because I think it's quite kind of maths based. It's a little bit maths based and stuff like that, and I think it'll work quite well. So
I've played it with most of my game group, and we all really love it. But me and Elliot have played it a whole bunch.
Oh,
we love it. Yeah, it's really good 2-player.
Yeah,
it just works. Really, really good.
Yeah. So that's my number 9, Castle Combo, Hachette Games. Well done.
Fabulous.
Absolutely wonderful. Your number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8.
From Cardboard Alchemy.
Oh,
the
I know what this is.
granddaddy and new and improved with new 100% added, no added sugar sci-fi Andromeda's Edge. So, Andromeda's Edge, fantastic game, like real big behemoth of a game, but it's like kind of similar to another game that's kind of about to come up. It looks more daunting, I think, than it actually is.
Oh.
In that there's lots you can do, but at any one time you kind of know what you're going to do, if you see what I mean. You've got a path that you're trying to follow, so yes, you might have a multitude of options, but only 2 or 3 of them might even apply at that point. So it's very good in that sense, and it does asymmetry in a kind of very clever way, in that it's a progressive asymmetry. So you start off a little bit asymmetrical, just a little.
Yes. But
by the end of the game, you're quite drastically asymmetrical.
Oh, lovely.
Which is quite cool. You know, your all types of your ships can be completely different, depending on if you've upgraded them to your opponents. You start as your whatever your race is, with a slightly different special rule that's for you, and it's just cracking. It's just really, really good. Does some really cool things, makes you thinking, kind of, or certainly makes me think in slightly different ways. It's got you sort of tableau, sort of. It's like they've added engine building to worker placement, but in a place like that's sort of not uncommon, like Wingspan. You know, when you place a worker, it's kind of you run your engine, don't you? Whereas in Andromeda's Edge, they've taken the shit turn in worker placement, where you go, I'll take all my workers back, you'll go, and you do fuck all while you wait 10 minutes for each of your mates to do their cool turn, you were doing a minute ago. In this, you recall your workers and you run your engine. So with your workers that come back, that's where you run your engine of your your spaceport, or whatever the hell it's called, which you've added all these modules to. That has a kind of engine kind of feel to it. Jesus Christ, like I've always said, I'm shallow as a tinker's bath when it comes to games, but bugger me, it's pretty. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful.
Is it?
And they did a cracking job.
Is it worthwhile getting the fully kind of blinged up version? Because
I mean, if you like all that sort of stuff, yes. Right. But if you don't, then you don't need it by any means. And there's probably an element of I would get to play it more had I not got the blinged version, because there is an element of fuck me, I've got to set all this bugger up, kind of thing.
But is it a tricky one? Because one of the things I've seen about Eldervale is it seems to come with all the game trays, so the actual setup of the game doesn't seem to be too tricky. Is Andromeda's Edge
they kind of did do that with Andromeda's Edge, but it's not. Game trays are being very hit and miss with some stuff over the last sort of year or so, and some aspects of the game trays are brilliant, and then some aspects of the game trays, like the individual player ones, they're great for storing it in the box. But if you use them during the game, you're some sort of weird psycho, because it's awful. It's you're a psychological narcissist, because it's horrible. The one that kind of goes on your board, that makes it kind of slightly divided. It's not nice at all to put on your board.
Right.
No, it's
nice.
No. If you do that, you make poor choices in life. Do better.
I am consistently making poor choices in my life, so that's fine. So that's your number 8. My number 8 is the other side of the space station, which is Arcs.
Oh, I haven't played it yet. I'm pretty confident Arcs would be on my list had I managed to play it yet.
I'm going to stand with everything that I said. I'm not 100% convinced it's trick taking. I think it's more auction.
It's not.
I think it's more auction.
It's absolutely not.
It's more auctioning because you're always auctioning. You're basically paying a card to see where you are on the track, to see what you do, to see whether you know to see what kind of action movements you can get and stuff like that. It's big, it's lofty, it's ambitious. It's not going to be for everybody. It's certainly going to be. It's going to be like Root. People are going to bounce off it because it's going to be tricky to. It's not tricky to teach, but you're going to get most out of it. I think I alluded to this before. You're going to get most out of it if you sit down 6 weeks in a row, and all you're playing is Arcs. And you envelop yourself in this kind of universe and get even the campaign stuff on, which I didn't have the chance to play. But I think you're going to love it. I think it falls in the same trap as Root, in that Root is not a one and done type of game. Root is another game you need to sit down 5 or 6 kind of game nights in a row and everybody play it in order to embrace exactly what kind of Root has to offer with the asymmetry that's there as well. But I think it makes some interesting choices. I think there's a lot of game there. I think it's going to end up, people are going to hold on to it forever, or just like Root, I think you're going to regularly see copies come up for sale because people will have it on the shelf and say, well, I'm not going to play this again because every time I play it, if I play it with somebody new, they've not learned the strategy enough in order to understand, because there's so many different routes that you can take in the game, and some of them are the right routes to take and some of them are creating an awful lot more work for yourself. So, but it certainly delivered on what I expected. But I'm kind of, I guess if you said, well, what would you pick between Andromeda's Edge and Arcs? I would probably go more towards Andromeda's Edge, I reckon. I think I'm hearing more. Okay, look at it this way. I'm hearing more people go, this is easily my game of the year for Andromeda's Edge.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I don't think I've heard anybody say that about Arcs.
I've not heard that many people, and I don't know if it's the same, with Arc.
I've heard people saying like, "Oh, I don't like Arcs."
No,
I've just not heard people saying much about Arcs. Really?
Yeah, I'll be interesting to see. As I say, it's interesting to see how it
but,
pans out.
But not the same for Andromeda's Edge. Definitely, yeah. A lot of people have said like, "This is my game of the year. This is fabulous.
This is the fifth time I've played it in as many kind of weekends now. I've not seen. I think Arcs had its kind of like its time in the sun. I think there will be extra stuff that they'll release, and I think there'll be additional factions, but then I think it'll end up like Root. And you'll see this known on the BTCG chat group, is that you'll get people that are selling the entire set for 150 quid. And you get people coming in and going, oh, right, so you've got Roots, the River Folk, the kind of the Marauders, the resin tiles, the map, and it's the same set that comes up again and again. And I think there's just one set of that game that gets sold from place to place. But Arcs,
there's like 3 of them moving around.
Yeah, exactly. And then people
like Mancala.
people put it on their shelves, and then 6 months down the line they go, I've not even had a chance to get this played. So Arcs number 8. I was suitably impressed to get it in the top 10. What is your
number 7?
Right, okay.
My number 7 is the other big beefy bugger. Well, actually, there's a couple of big beefy buggers, but Euro big beefy bugger.
Yeah.
Kind of is similar in some aspects to Andromeda's Edge, and this is another beautiful. I mean, I can't explain how stunningly beautiful this game is. And not Andromeda's Edge. That is Unconscious Minds.
Oh, really? Okay. Because I have heard an awful lot about this, but at the same time, I've heard absolutely bugger all about how it works.
So, Unconscious Minds is a...
Who makes it? Do you remember?
Oh, it is made by Fantasia Games.
Oh, Fantasia. Okay. Right. Anyway, sorry.
So another worker placement game.
Yes.
Which is why I kind of, in some ways, I kind of say similar to Andromeda's Edge. You play one of the apprentice disciples, students of Freud. I think they are legitimate people, that were his students as such. And you are trying to treat patients. And so this is one of these ones where you've got an absolute wealth of stuff going on. Like, it's a big, beefy, massive bugger. You've got a board in front of you, which is the worker placement bit. Then you've got your own board, which has your resources on it, which is your ideas. So you've got different ideas for different mindsets and ways of thinking and stuff like that, which is what you would use to treat people. Then you've got the section of the board which has the people you're trying to treat. Then you've got the section of the board which is like a city. I'm not sure what city it is, which Freud is on as well. He's moving around, which also has the tracker for the scores and stuff like that. So your workers are these little kind of look like comic speech bubbles, and so where you have the little tick on a comic speech bubble that indicates what mouth the bit of words are coming out of, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So you've then got this grid. And it's on that grid, it's got the various actions you can take, be it, gaining resources, taking something of this, taking something of that, blah, blah, blah. Then in between all these bits, you've got places for your speech bubble. And then if you go in between four things, but you turn the speech bubble to point at the top left one. You see what I mean?
All right, okay.
So you're taking that action.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, while you're doing that, you've got to gain resources, which are then to treat. You've got the person you're trying to treat, and then over the top of them, you've got I can't remember what it's called. It's called catharsis when you treat that thing, and you take this. It's like a acrylic layer with like a see-through card, like Gloom or whatever. That has this cool artwork over the top of it. So it's like this haunted person, kind of thing. And then you reveal this normal person underneath. So you first have to treat their kind of psychosis or whatever it is, the issue with it. And then you can fully cure the person. And try to sort of kind of do that as much as you can. But then you're getting points from studying publishing works. Like I say, a lot going on. But I mean, to say it's beautifully produced is an understatement in of itself. It is stunning on the board, absolutely stunning to look at. Like I said, there is a whole load going on, but you're kind of directed in certain ways by whatever it is you've chosen to kind of go towards. There's only, although technically you could probably do 13 things, there's probably only 2 or 3 things that you're actually going to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cracking. Yeah, just fabulous. Love it.
That's your number 7. My number 7, Courtisans. We've spoken about it.
We have spoken about
But, I mean, if somebody says to me, do you want to play this or something else? If it's a quick game I want to play, then I'll just, it's a lovely little game. Production values are lovely, bar the Hessian rug that you have to deal with.
I mean, as Hessian goes, it's lovely Hessian.
But as the
There
compatibility,
doesn't need to be Hessian in my board games.
I don't need you. I don't need your bloody Hessian. You can take your bloody Hessian and you can bagger off. So yeah, if somebody says you want to play a game today, yeah. I mean, me and Paul were playing today, and if Paul had said you want to play Courtisans, yeah, certainly, absolutely, let's just play it. because it's easy. If somebody else turned up, they didn't know how to play it, as you already said, they'd learn it in about 5 moves. It's such just a lovely little simple, stunning looking game. Absolutely lovely. So that is my number 7. Your number 6.
Number 6.
There we go.
Number 6 for me is crossover with another Hachette game, Castle Combo.
Oh!
So, yeah, I mean, I echo everything you said about Castle Combo. I think I love the artwork of Castle Combo. I think it's brilliant. Little Easter egg you might not have noticed, but it was pointed out to me by Flavian. If you look at the prince and the stable boy, they're essentially they're brothers.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay.
So it's where the king went and had a naughty one in the stables with the in the French version, or in the original version, I think in the French version it is this.
Yeah.
It's the prince, and then it's not the stable boy, it's the bastard.
Oh, right, okay.
But they left it out of the English version.
I think so, yeah. I think
whatever that,
Yeah.
Really, just love the artwork, love the way it makes you think. It's just great, yeah. Just a really, really good, fun. I love that whole combo thing. There were some games I was playing recently that I really like that. Do this. Oh yeah, get that. Oh yeah, then I get that. But this does it just so succinctly and so nicely in such a sort of compact design. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
My number 6 is Isle of Cats Duel.
Ah.
From City Games. It's very, very simple to play. But there's levels of complexity above it. For anyone that, basically the idea of Isle of Cats Duel is that you are trying to get cats off an island onto your boat, and it's a tetromino kind of game where it's a multiple shaped domino kind of a game. I don't know if that's tetromino. That's to do with Tetris, isn't it? I guess it is. Polyonomos. There you go. Anyway, or something like that.
Polyomino.
I don't know. I just made that. If that's not the word, then that's the word that it should be. I tell you. But basically, what you're trying to do is there's basically shut up. There's one board that's the island that represents the island, that's got a mixture of different shaped cats and also different cards that you can collect. And on your go, you move something called an Orshax, which is a white and green cat, and you move that 2 spaces, and you can decide to pick up one of the items that the cat has passed over, whether that be another cat or whether that be an action, like allowing you to collect a treasure, or something that allows you to score called a lesson. So lessons basically say, if you've got X number of cats at the end of the game in this colour, then you score 9 points. If you've only got 5 treasure pieces in your in the game, then you score 9 points. If you've got X, Y, and Z in the game, so it's all conditions. And what you're doing is you then take the cat that you've collected and you put it onto your own player board, which is like a grid, but it's in the shape of a boat. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to fit the different colours cats onto your boat. You're trying to make sure that you're matching the same colour cats together so they're all adjacent to each other, because once you have 3 cats, that counts as a family, and you get a points multiplier based on the number of similar colour cats that are all connected together. You've also got to make sure that all of the rooms are kind of occupied, and you do that in a mixture of making sure that your cats are in the right kind of are added onto the boat in the correct fashion, so they cover up as many squares as possible. But then you collect treasure, which then allows you to fill in the smaller gaps as you go, to make sure that your boat is entirely full as much as possible. You've got fish that you have, and fish allow you to take kind of extra bonus moves. So as you play the game, you'll get a chance to collect more fish, but it allows you to move the Orshax cat more spaces, or it allows you to buy a treasure, or it allows you to jump the Orshax cat to a different space. And it becomes one big huge kind of point salad at the end, where basically based on the lessons that you've played, based on how you've placed your cats, based on the number of families, but also importantly, based on the number of spaces that you haven't covered on the boat, you end up getting a kind of an end total. And it's pretty good fun. It doesn't take too long to play. There's only like four. It's like four rounds in total, and the rounds end when either both players decide not to collect an item on that turn, or the island itself is completely empty of cats and items for that particular run, and then you move on to the next round. So it's not a case of where you're playing until somebody reaches a certain win condition. There's a set end on it, a set close down, and it kind of means that it doesn't. And it's because it's 2-player and there's not the variance in the players. If you get it, if it takes more than like say 45 minutes, then But if you'll be surprised if it takes more than kind of 45 minutes. And it's got enough level of complication that it can cause a bit of analysis paralysis with some people, but it's also simple enough that if you don't, people can just jump in and play it. There's not a huge amount of rules that you've got to learn, and it's just a nice little kind of 2-player. It's designed to be 2-player, but again, it goes back to this duel thing, this whole duel kind of
dual renaissance.
Dual renaissance,
I'm not going to call it a
birth
renaissance. I'm going to call it a bandwagon that everybody's jumping on.
But obviously, this has been in development for some time, and I think it was potentially kind of kickstarted as well. I don't know if it was I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a. I
don't think he did kickstart that one.
I don't know.
I think he just released that one.
Yeah. So that's Isle of Cats Duel, which is my number 6. Number 5, Mr. Pryor.
Number 5
is you sounded more Scottish there, by the way.
I did accidentally, and I didn't mean to.
No,
there was no racist stereotyping going on. You need to get an edit and add in some weird, ear-shattering, disconcerting, and unnerving noise, because that's what this is all about. And that's Dune War for Arakis, which is the big CMON, big battlefield one.
Really? Really?
Have you not played it?
No.
You should have.
Was it good?
It's so bloody good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because you say CMON, and I'm just thinking huge amounts of plastic with potentially.
It's a big, lovely production, but it's such a cool game, and it does Dune really well. As war games go, it's brilliant. It does. You've got the Fremen and the bald-headed people that bathe in oil. The
Harkonnens.
Harkonnens. The Harkonnens.
I was thinking you were talking about the Shell CEO.
Yeah, well, that's what he looks like when he's taking a bath. You got the Fremen and the Harkonnens, and the Harkonnens can also have the kind of the Imperium or the Emperor's forces, and the Atreides and the Fremen. They have the Fremen with them. You've got all of the cool characters who do really cool things, and kind of evolve as well. So like Paul Atreides eventually becomes Majharut, and joins the Fremen, and it's and then like Thanos. I can't remember his character's name, but when he comes back,
the Baron Harkonnen.
No. Thanos. Thanos is played by
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin's character in Dune. Yes.
Is he not Duncan? Is that not Duncan?
Yes.
It is.
No. Duncan is Aquaman.
Jason Momoa. What is that? You having I'm the one that's 50 here. Do you know what I mean?
Momoa, Jason Momoa.
You know what I mean? I was out the other day with that boy. You know, the one with
Duncan,
the face
isn't it?
and the nose.
Is that Duncan? That's Duncan, isn't it?
I don't know. You're the one that's telling the bloody story. I'm just
Anyway,
going
you
to
got all
leave you
these
hanging.
you got all the characters, and it's really well done. The way the game works with the Harkonnens start obviously with loads of forces, and the Fremen are kind of doing their guerrilla warfare and trying to take out spice harvesters, and the Harkonnen are kind of trying to go out and kill the I can't remember what you call the underground villages of the Fremen. They're like little outposts, so they're trying to get out to kill there, but there's the whole, because you got this big map, and then the more activity that happens in the desert, then the sandworms turn up, and the sandworms will happen and stuff like that. But then the Fremen, that kind of like that, they can make that work for them. And there's because it's such a big map, you got loads of push and pull, so you can't be everywhere, you can't do everything. So if you book a lot of resources over here, then you're going to struggle over there, and etc. There's so much great push and pull from it. Beautifully produced in that kind of classic CMON way. Just fucking brilliant. It's so good. I mean, I'm not a big Dune fan. The modern movies did a lot for Dune for me.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to read the book. They were way too big and too heavy, and I kind of wasn't a massive fan of the old Dune productions. But a lot of my mates are massive Dune fans, like huge, die-hard Dune fans. But like I said, the movies did a lot for introducing me fully to the appreciation of Dune.
It seems
it's a
to
love story
wildly
to
go
Dune,
in
this.
price as well. It's like 140 quid on the big bad Amazon.
Really? Wow.
And yet, if you,
That's not a...
yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure I picked up for 80, I think.
the Zatu's sell Zatu. Are they selling it though? Are they?
Well, yeah, are they?
Are they
Is it on
selling it?
pre-order, back order, or are they just trying to
Yeah.
hold your money in there like little
Chaos Cards
building
are selling it
society
for
savings account?
103, but then it's like Firestorm Games. None of these people are sponsoring us, but we're giving you free publicity.
Mox in the Hole, have they got...
I don't know.
No, they probably haven't.
But they're selling it for 45. Oh, that's the expansion. All right, not the main. So the
Yeah,
main one's
I was gonna
about.
say,
The
yeah.
main one's about. The main one's about a ton.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
was like I said, I
expansion's
picked it
about
up
a
for
month.
I think it was about 85, something like
All
that.
right,
85. But yeah, it's a cracking game. Really, really cool.
How long does it take to play?
If you
though?
like, I think once you both it's a little bit Star Wars Rebellion in that it's a 2-player game.
Yeah.
You can play it 2v2,
Yeah.
which actually does work much better than Star Wars Rebellion's version of it.
Mhm.
It is a legitimate 2v2 game.
Mhm.
I think 2v2 kind of slows it down a little bit because of the kind of discussion with yourself and your partner. But it's probably 2.5 hours.
That's not bad.
It's not terrible.
No, it's not,
you
it's
know.
not terrible. It's-
Well, certainly once you both know it, it's fine.
So that's number 5.
That was number 5.
Dune War for Arrakis. My number 5. Now I had, this is the first one that I really struggled whether to put it on there because I really, really liked it, but also put it on there because of how it plays. But it's Star Wars Unlimited.
I presumed you were going to put it on here.
You know, number 5. It's the fact. Okay, it's come from nowhere, and it seems to have really, really well established itself with a big player base, and they actually Fantasy Flight Games seem to be putting in an awful lot of effort with it as well. And,
Yeah.
And in the past, Fantasy Flight have unfortunately had some cracking IPs that they just went, I can't be bothered with this anymore, and just kind of let it lapse through whatever. Marketing, licensing, you know, Star Wars Armada says hi, Star Wars X-Wing says hi, Netrunner says hi. You know, there seems to be the case of it's like as soon as as soon as we're no longer
Forbidden
interested
Stars,
in
Blood
you,
Bowl Team Manager,
we're just we're gonna move you on to something else. But Star Wars Unlimited, it's a double-edged sword for me because if I'm playing if I have a choice of the decks that I'm playing with, like if I play against my son and we both know we're playing on the same decks, we'll have an absolutely fabulous time. As with all of these games, when they're continually trying to release new sets and stuff like that, there is a little bit of feature creep unfairness, and it can sometimes appear like play to win. However, as a game mechanically, how it plays, how easy it is to learn, the entire package is absolutely glorious, wonderful time. And it's certainly, while I might not go ahead and buy a huge number of more expansions, if I might not go ahead and lay down lots and lots of money on, say, new product. If there's a new kind of space battles one that's coming out, I might go ahead and pick that up because I know it'd be 2 decks I'd be interested in and know we could play. I think if you're playing competitively, you certainly have to be buying the booster boxes. If you're just there and you want to play a good couple of games, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with you just going ahead and kind of picking it up. Basically, it's good fun. Basically. It is indeed very, very good.
Very nearly picked up starter sets so many times for it, but just haven't quite pulled the trigger on it.
I would say at this point, if it hasn't enticed you to go ahead and buy a starter set, with everything that's out there with all the information, I would just leave it be. Because I think there'll be, I think it depends. If you just want to play it for sake of playing it, then yeah, it's worthwhile having it. But I think like Lorcana, I don't think there's much point in trying to get into the big scene and going and entering tournaments and competitions and stuff like that, unless you've got the kind of licensed stuff anyway. But that's Star Wars Unlimited number 5 Fantasy Flight Games. That's my number 5. What about you? Your number 4.
Number 4. So, slight cheat.
Why?
Well, not cheat. It is a reprint. This one of a game that came out quite some time ago, I believe.
Okay.
But it is a release. Well, I think actually it might not even, for the most part, be released till this year. Mm. But I got it at Essen, and this is Ponzi Scheme.
Oh yes, okay. That is Bright Eye Games, isn't it?
It is, yes. Have you played the original Ponzi Scheme? I think it came from TMG.
I have not. That was Tasty Minstrel Games that they wound up, didn't they?
That's the one. Yeah.
The owner.
So you understand what a Ponzi scheme is?
Yes, I understand very much what Charles Ponzi.
Have you fallen foul of a Ponzi scheme before?
I have not.
or what do we call it now? Multi-level marketing.
Which
is the rebrand of Ponzi schemes.
Yes.
So yeah, in a Ponzi scheme, you are running a Ponzi scheme, and essentially, you'll have all heard it before. It's like, if you come and work for us, and blah blah blah. If you sign up with us, and then if you get your friends to sign up with us, you make more money. Essentially, so somebody at the top of the Ponzi scheme keeps getting a little bit of the money, but they keep needing to pay out more money, so they keep needing the people beneath them to get more people to pay their initial fees, blah, 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 blah. So it's a pyramid scheme, is another way of kind of saying it before as well. In Ponzi scheme, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun, but it's also massively stressful. It's also... It's Ponzi scheme, but it's also the bills are due, the simulator game. It's the far more real game of life than the real game of life. So you have a grid in front of you. So there's 4 different types of shares. Okay, and at the end of the game, the person who's got essentially you're set collecting those 4 shares, and the more you have of them, they're more exponentially worth more. So like first one's worth 1 point, second worst one's 3 points, third one's worth 5 points, etc., etc., etc. On it goes. You have a grid in front of you of 3 by 3. Top row, bottom row, middle row, and bottom row. And the top row, if you are taking the first share of a company that you don't have currently any, then you could take one of the top row. And on that will be in this grid is made up of amounts of money you will get, which also then says how much you'll have to pay back and when. So these are all kind of like loans and interest payments that will always come through, and you'll always have to pay them back. And the game ends when the first person goes bust.
Right.
They can't pay off these loans. They're out. Anybody who goes bankrupt in that turn is out, and they're done. Doesn't matter how many shares they had. They're just shit. They're done. Then whoever's got the most points at the end wins. So then you take one of, depending on whether, so you take the first, second, or third share, right? And they're stacked in value. So the amount of money you'll get. The top row is the lowest 3, middle 3, higher 3. So you might take 34, pays back 64 in 5. And then you've got this kind of like, sort of looks like a clock face in front of you. But it's 6-sided. It has an arrow, which is where you're at, and then it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back around to the arrow. So if I take 34, paying back 64, and it has 4, so I then take my 34 money. Yeah. That goes behind my little player screen. Yeah. And then I put that card on 4. Right?
Right, okay.
And when after the end of each turn, you turn your dial. So your arrow moves to point at
impending
what was
doom.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually, and then whenever it obviously gets to a bunch of cards, you have to pay off those cards.
Yeah.
But that 34-64, well, I pay it off. Now it goes to wherever 4 is now. So all of these things just mount up and mount up and mount up. You never pay them off. You just have to pay on them in intervals.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things that can happen is the market can crash. So you've got bear cards, which I think were bull cards before. There's different. It's a market in economics term. Bear market and a bull market. I'm not sure what the difference is. If there at a certain point in the kind of round, if there is ever as many bear cards on the market as there are players, the market crashes. So all of those go away. You deal out new cards, and you move your thing twice.
Oh.
So suddenly you're going to have to pay 2. If somebody crashes the market inadvertently, you might not have the money you wanted, or like you've missed out on a chance of taking more money because you've moved it twice. You then also in between those sections you have the clandestine. So you get this lovely little leatherette little wallet thing. It has paper money in it. I get why it has paper money in it. I hate paper money. This is no exception. This paper money is horrible. I have said to the publisher how much I have disdain for said paper money. You could do clandestine. So this is one of the beauties of this. So in like many economic or bidding or something like that games, you can trade. But one of the beauties of this is the trade will happen one way or another. So you could trade with somebody if you and I both share that we have green stocks. You can only trade with somebody for the same thing. Yeah. So you've got to already have one. So I get my little my wallet and I clandestinely stick 30 money in it. Yep. And I pass it over to you. Say, right, this is for you, green. So you can look at it and you laugh your ass off. You think you're going to buy that off me for 30? Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. I'm doubling it. You get 60 and I get your share.
All right.
So the trade will happen one way or another. You either accept my initial bid for your thing or you double my bid and buy my one.
All right.
So there's no kind of like looking at it going, oh no, that's too much for me, or no, I don't want any part of it. The trade will happen. And because the trades happen all the time, you can sit there and look at somebody and go, well, they've got a shitload of stuff coming up. They just bought that thing. I know they need money. I'll give them a nice juicy little offer that's nice for me, and it gives them a little bit of a sweetener. So you've got all this. This is, like I said, game above the table. And Ponzi Scheme is one of the absolute kings of game above the table. It's so bloody perb. Absolutely fucking fabulous. I love it.
Brilliant.
But it is stress the board game. It's it is squeaky bum time at all points.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's your number 4. My number 4. You're all about stress. I'm all about joy. With Joyride. From Rebellion Unplugged. I've spoke about Joyride before, but just need to say that this is a series of kind of what would be a simplistic racing game that opens up a ton of kind of narrative comedy, stressful and fun moments as you race around the track, kind of smashing into each other, pushing people to the side, wrecking their plans, and then racing off to the finish line in a joy of, and like a boost of nitrous oxide and adrenaline and kind of laughs and jokes. It's just I've absolutely been I've been definitely checking out the Matchbox cars to see if I can pimp out this game and replace the wooden blocks that you get with the game with actual Matchbox cars, because I think that would be absolutely fantastic. But it's just the
but they are nice in of themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, they're lovely wooden kind of block.
They're really, I think they did a lovely production with it.
Yeah.
Really nice.
There's a wooden block, but it's just it is the overall package, everything from like the actual theme to the artwork to everything else. It's not just the kind of the mechanics that are there that make it fun. It's the fact that there's a lot of thought that's kind of gone into this game, and the times that I've played it, it's always been fun. There's always moments where somebody has their plans quashed, or other people people have their plans quashed, people make mistakes, they understeer, they oversteer, they go too fast, they go too slow, they try to have as many dice as possible, they crash into a wall. It's just, yes, it's very, very good. It's very, very good fun, and I can see it kind of sticking around for a while in the collection for definite.
This is another one that I think had I taken the very generously offered copy from Duncan at Essen and I had a headspace in I believe this would have been played quite a bit, because it would do very well with my group, and I'm very confident it would be in my top 10.
Yes.
Because we already do like games like this a lot.
Absolutely.
So yes,
absolutely.
I do intend to.
So that is my number 4. Right, we're into the top 3.
Number 3.
What is your number 3, Mr. Pryor?
So this is a very fresh one.
Oh,
this is fresh for me.
Is it still got the smell of bread?
I picked this up inadvertently Christmas shopping.
All right.
And I was very surprised to see it when I found it. And this is I'm blown away by how good this is. But then I'm a massive fan of Texas Hold'em poker, and I have played a lot of Texas Hold'em poker in my life. And this is The Gang.
Oh, right, okay. And who...
Do you know the game I'm talking about?
Who makes The Gang?
So, Kosmos.
Oh, okay.
So, The Gang is a little bit in the realm of the mind, yeah. The theme, and I'm using air quotes here. Yeah. The theme is that you are Ocean's 11-esque casino heisters. Yes.
Okay.
And so, assuming you understand how to play Texas Hold'em, correct?
Yes. Think so.
As in the flop, the turn, the river. Yeah. So, you start obviously with 2 cards in your hand. You then lay out 1 to 6 chips, depending on how many players there are, like 1 star to 6 stars. So there's 6 people. I've only played this 4-player at the moment, which I think is probably the sweet spot. We've had this discussion within my group. So 1 star, bad. 6 stars or whatever, Good, right? The first ones are white chips, I believe. And without saying what you have in your hand, without, trying to, we say that there's some level of verbalization you could do. You can't say what you've got. You can't say how good your hand is, but you could you could discuss stuff within the group. You urge to take a chip based on how good you think your hand is. So if you're dealt pocket aces, this is obviously before you've seen the first 3 cards. You've got pocket aces where you're reaching for the 6 straight away. Yeah. But if you're dealt a 7-2 unsuited, you're straight away reaching for the 1 chip. You get these brilliant moments where you go, well, like I've got like a king. I've got a king 9 kicker. They're suited, so it's not terrible, but I still really need clubs to turn up or a king or whatever. So you might be running for a 3, but then your mates are like, I was going for the 3. So you've got this brilliant thing. So all just kind of established. Then you get the flop, which is the next 3 cards. They go out into the communal cards in the table. New set of chips come out that are orange or yellow. Yellow. You do the same again. Based on how your hand might have changed. You might have picked up a pair, you might have picked up trips, you might be chasing a straight, or your flush is looking good or something like that. So right now you go, you still think you're shit, but you're still confident you're good. You were confident, but now you're not confident. Okay, right, fine, okay, cool. Then you do the turn, which is the 4th card. Go again with the chips. Then you do the river, 5th card. This is the one that matters. So the first 3 chips are purely there to establish progression of your mindset, as it were. As to how you thought your hand was doing. So suddenly, you went from, I was at a 2-star. Then the flop came out, you were still at a 2-star. Then the turn came out, the king came up, you went to 4-star. Yeah. Then the river came up and you got another king came out and you went straight for the 6-star chip. You could see that clearly they had a king in their hand. They picked up a pair of kings, they picked up trips of kings, blah, 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 blah. Or you could see somebody who was like, there was lots of hearts on the board, but the 3rd heart, the 4th heart didn't turn up. So they were chasing the flush, and then they suddenly went, 3-4 star or whatever. Then suddenly down to 1 star, like they didn't get what they were chasing. So then, like I say, you're casino heisters. You're doing basically best of 5. So if you get 3 failures, before you get 3 successes, you lose essentially. So it's first best of 3, best of 5. So if those, you each take these red chips based on where you think your hand is compared to everybody else, and you reveal your hand, and those chips must be in the right order. Okay. Just those ones. Not the initial ones, not the ones that came before it, just that last red set of chips. And now, I'm very lucky in that none of my friends have played as much poker as me, but they're not idiots, and they do understand poker. And we've all known each other a very long time. We all each other's heads. We all know each other's mindsets. So I wouldn't want to just sit down at a table with a bunch of people I didn't know and play it. Unless I knew that these were poker players. Because it's very easy for somebody who doesn't know poker to sit there and go, 2 3s, okay, I've got a pair of 3s. And then in the first hand, they're like, they take like a 2 chip. And then you get to the end and you're like, well, hang on a minute. At the beginning, you said you didn't have fuck all. Yeah. You had a pair. Yeah. you started with pocket pairs, and if they don't understand the concept of that actually being good, it's a low pair.
Yeah.
But if it's very easy for somebody who doesn't understand poker to not truly be able to value their hand and the cards in front of them, and so there's a big caveat on that. But with regards to my group, this game is fucking brilliant. And for me personally, because I do love poker so much, I was blown away by how so frigging great
That's
it was.
wonderful.
It's really good.
Do you think?
Really lovely.
And here's a
really
question:
nicely produced too.
if you've been kind of mucking about with Balatro, is that going to help put you in a good place?
Balatro would be a big help.
Yeah.
Yeah. If like you're not a poker player, but you got into Balatro because you kind of like that whole deck building and stuff like that, Balatro will definitely help you. A person who's not a poker player but has played lots of Balatro will definitely be in a better position.
Yeah, they'll understand what the potential
you would hope at least. Yeah. Like I said, some people get picked up on by a minibus every day, and they do things differently and think things differently to normal people. So it's very player dependent.
Are you back at the construction workers again?
There's definitely like you could sit down at a table hoping for a really fun game of this.
Luke Pryor hates aid workers.
One or two people could really make this game fucking hard work.
I can imagine.
Kind of
I
thing.
didn't get on with it. I played the
But
Mind.
the right group, great.
I played the
Mind is...
The Mind's crap.
I mean, the Mind is like... like, the Mind is too much of the kind of like... Well, you're literally not supposed to say a friggin' word.
Yeah, no.
So the Mind turns into nose twitching, eyebrow winks, and
just...
like...
I tell you, there's a lot of
like you're having some sort of seizure.
There's a lot. There's a lot of people that if you who champion the Mind now, that if you asked them about it now, they'd be shuffling their feet and looking awkwardly, because then they'd be like, "Well, I'm sorry, I was caught up in the hype." Because I played that game and it was shit. It was a terrible game.
Played it a couple of times and it was
just
fine.
like it was just like you know what I mean. So that's fine.
Now, don't get me wrong. The gang. It might be that it is supposed to be played exactly in that way in the Mind, that you're not supposed to say a word. And one of my friends said, how much are we allowed to say? And I said, look, at the end of the day, it's us playing it. We could say as much as to the point as that we're not making the game fun. Because if you do verbalise too much, then what's the fucking point? But equally, I don't want to sit here in fucking silence and twitch my nose at you like I'm So, I think again, it's very group dependent in that front. You've got to understand that there's got to be that kind of unwritten social contact within the group as to and at no point I think did anybody sort of like in the games that I played, has anybody said anything where I've gone like, well, that's maybe a little bit too much, kind of thing. Like, well done on your full house, right?
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
As long as you
but the beauty of it is, certainly in the way that we play it, is you can verbalise, as in like you can't say what you've got, but you could sit there and go. You could like I sort of said out what I was thinking, like, oh well, Matt's. He was 1 star, 1 star. Then look, the king turned up. Boom, he went to 3 star. Yeah. Then there's like he obviously picked up something. So obviously, and you could kind of sit there and like if you both reach for the 4-star chip or something, you're like, how 4 star do you recognize? And they could be like, well, that kind of felt like the one, but 3's probably not far off. Kind of thing. Okay, cool. Well, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Okay, cool. Yeah, you go. And that's, as far as we're concerned, that's fine. That's fun. Having that discussion. The people who want to sit in silence with their friends, I do. You're fucking weird.
It depends if you want to go ahead and collect yourself some money. Because my number 3
Mm.
is Looot.
That's why you didn't mention anything when I said Loot.
That's exactly why I didn't mention anything
I was thinking,
when you said
maybe you didn't like Loot.
Yeah, I mean, that's why. I didn't want...
You were very quiet when I mentioned
Well,
it.
I didn't, I was like, I just wanted to, because we were talking about, we've been sprinkling some sugar over Hachette all evening. And I was like, well, why don't we just let it continue? I just like it. I just like what it does. I like how it gets you thinking. Like how every time I play it, if I play it with new people, again, it's one of these games that is relatively easy to kind of pick up, to explain, and there's 20 million different ways to win the game as well. And if there's one thing that a little bit of a bugbear with me is, and it sits in the same camp as Acropolis, is that I think if a game has an optimum path to winning, especially when it's a casual or light game, then you have failed miserably at providing a casual light game experience, because it drastically decreases the kind of the shelf life of a game if everybody knows that, if I go for the green tiles every single time, then what it means is that once everybody's played it 2 or 3 times and everybody goes for the green tiles, and then nobody's ever going to win. And what I liked about Acropolis was that you can win it with all these different types of tiles, all the, whether it's cities, religious, whatever, churches, the markets, the battalions, there's a way for you to win. And with Loot, it's exactly the same thing. You're building up your own variation of a point salad, and you're exploring the new lands, you're collecting resources, you're then taking those resources and placing them on your own little player mat, and then using them to... You basically have a chance to collect little scoring bonuses that you place on your map, and as long as you fulfill the requirements for each of those scoring bonuses, you get extra bonuses. So you can have basically extra bonuses that say at the end of the game you get 1 extra point for every sheep that you've got in your particular kind of collection, or you get 2 points for every castle that you get, and stuff like that.
It's a bit of a combo builder as well.
It's a combo builder, yeah.
Oh, I think I might like Loot more than I realised then.
It's just...
I always thought Loot looked fine. I always thought, it looks like a game I'd perfectly well enjoy, but I didn't kind of have that urge to pick it up. I was just like, it looks like it might be one that would just get overlooked on the shelf a little too often. But actually, that description intrigues me a lot more, the way you've just described it.
It's just like I've
not heard before.
You're building like a little trail of your own little soldiers, so you can do it yourself, or you can branch it off of other people. But how you capture certain areas, like how you capture castles, is you've got to have 4 of your own little guys in a row, in some way, shape, or form, and you capture a castle. If you want to capture a second castle, you've got to have 8 in a row, because all the castles, the towers, they all have they're all little stacks. So there's 2 or 3 in a stack. And if you want to capture the first castle, you've just got to have 4 little soldiers. If you want to capture the second tile on the stack, you've got to have 8. If you want to capture a tower, you've got to have a link between 2 towers to be able to capture a tower. So it's all about controlling the space. But then what you're also doing is you've got little Viking bonus tiles that you can take to put on your little player board, that then encourage you to also continue to collect the normal resources that you get on the board, as well as collecting the bigger towers and point scorers and stuff like that. To me, it hits the line of King Domino, in terms that this is going to be a game that's going to sit on the shelf, and then when we bring it out and play it, everybody has a delightful little time, and nobody kind of feels that they've been kind of... They've got their own little path that they can take through the game. So I mean, as I say, so that's why I kind of like it. I like the fact that it's not one of these games that's, as I said, where once everybody knows how it works, you can guarantee that you can use the same strategy again and again to win. So there's that kind of multiple thing. It's not too heavy. It doesn't take too long. It's really, really easy to teach. It looks delightful when it's on the table. But it's a fun little game, and it's a game that I'll probably keep coming back to again and again and again. So that is my number 3, which is Looot. We're getting serious now. What is your
number 2? Lord of the Rings, The Jewels for Middle-earth.
Oh, okay. We were just talking about this.
We did talk about this very recently because I played it at AC West. It's truly, 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 truly fabulous. It does Lord of the Rings in this such a beautifully condensed little way, but gives you all of the feel of the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings. It's so clever in that way. It's got really nice set collection and kind of route to victory, because there's like 3 ways I think you can win. The goodies versus the baddies is kind of like the way you go about what you're trying to do is the same but slightly, ever so slightly different. Beautifully produced, looks great, lovely artwork. Vincent Dutrait does Lord of the Rings, which is really nice. It's I won't go on about it too much, but it's just great. It just does takes the 7 Wonders things that I understand from 7 Wonders. I haven't played 7 Wonders Duel, but obviously now having played this, I kind of have a pretty good idea how that works. Revealing cards and knowing like to take a card, but do I take that card because it could reveal something really good for my opponent, or I don't want to do that, kind of thing, because you really might help them out, It's just great. I really love what it does, and it plays so quick and smooth. Like when we played our first game, I don't even know if my opponent Andrew had played 7 Wonders Duel before, but we picked it up really easily in that first game, and then we would just go back and forth. We played it I think 6 times.
Wow.
A game could take 20 minutes,
See, my friend Paul's got it. He picked it up quite recently. So it's a game we're going to definitely be getting to the table over the next month.
I'd be shocked if you didn't at least enjoy it.
I will definitely try it. I mean, 20 minutes sounds quite light, but I take it's pretty deep.
Yeah, it's not that it's light. It's light in that there's nothing crazy hard that you've got to do. It's just quick and snappy,
Yeah.
So light would be an unfair description because light comes with connotations of less tactics, less choice, less depth of strategy. But there's definitely all of that in there, really cool game. Really cool game. Beautifully produced. Does, like I said, the fact that you feel like you get a little bit of the saga and the trilogy within it does that very well. Really good.
Well, my
what's your
number 2 is something a lot deeper.
I feel you're going to be ironic, and it's not going to be deep at all.
It's very deep. It's Deep Rock Galactic. It's Rock and Stone.
Oh, of course. Wow, I knew this. I thought this was going to be number 1.
No, it's not. It's not. I think you might be. Number 1 will surprise you.
We were supposed to say that at the beginning.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, this is how we get the kind of the clicks and people coming on. It's just, yeah, I mean, I've spoken at length in a couple of episodes ago, but it's just really just, it's just super fun. It just does exactly what it says on the tin, and then for some reason manages to do what a lot of dungeon crawlers don't do, which is to control where you're meant to be going. The size of the board, the board's tiny. I mean, you don't have all of these. There's not all these individual paths and individual little kind of sets, areas you've got to build. There's none of this kind of, you end up kind of building something which is 15 times the size of the table that you've got. There's no kind of little... There's no kind of awkward doors. There's no kind of awkward little tiles that you need to put down for pit traps. There's no...
Or a bit where you have to try and slide all of it across a foot.
Yeah,
because
there's
you
none of
ventured off
that
in
kind
one
of...
way, which was the edge of the table, and you've got like, oh, bollocks, we've got to just move it all over towards Brian.
There's none of that there. You kind of set it up and you just go ahead and play, and if at any point you don't like the direction the game's going, then you just drill into the stone and go into a direction that you kind of want to. It looks lovely. The kind of the miniatures look wonderful. The characterization of the game's all there. It's you can tell that it's built by somebody who has played this game a hell of a lot and knew exactly what the fans of the video game would want to be doing if they sat down and played the game, which is, can I head in this direction? Can I back up the other players? Can I kill thousands and thousands of bugs as they swarm against me? Is there the threat of feeling slightly overwhelmed when they come and swarm you? Is it all up against the clock? Is there that sense of urgency? Is there the quests? Is there a lot to play in is there a lot to do in the kind of the campaign? Is it something, but again, more importantly, can I sit down with 3 people that haven't played the game before and get them playing this within 10 minutes and kind of understand what they're meant to do? And it does all of that. It does all of that to the fact that I'm looking around slightly to see how easy it is to get kind of potential expansions. Because that's my only fear about this whole game, is because it's a Kickstarter. How deep are the stock pockets? I'm assuming that Mood Publishing potentially might have, but you don't know. They might have stock, they might not. I mean, that's...
I'm sure they haven't done a reprint of it.
Yeah.
Yet.
But I mean, I guess they would be waiting.
Have they done just the one campaign? They did one. They did
No.
Valheim. They did Valheim with us at Game Found towards the end of the sort of beginning of winter, end of autumn kind of time. Around was it during? It might have been during Essen. I can't think how many times they've done a campaign for Deep Rock Galactic. If they've just done 1 or 2 on Kickstarter. I don't know if they've
maybe done 2, because I think the second one
did they do 2? Do you reckon?
I think so.
Maybe,
but
they probably will be the last.
It's testament. I think I've not seen really many people actually shifting their copy of the game.
No.
I've not seen it kind of join the big kind of group of, here's a big huge dungeon crawler game that you can get your hands on. We'll see what happens in 6 months to a year, but so far it is, I was very, very pleasantly surprised that everybody that I've played the game with, that have sat down at the table and played it so far, have walked away from it and went, that was good fun. That was good fun.
Nice.
So that is number 2, Deep Rock Galactic. And now we're on to the big... number 1, or the game that we think should be higher up than everybody else. What is your...
Number 1. Well, I'm pretty sure... I think on BGG, mine is technically listed as a 2023 game.
It doesn't matter.
And it might be that it came out towards the end of the year, or like I just got my copy in 2024, but it feels like a 2024 game to me, at least. But this is Bloodstones.
Oh, okay,
Martin
right.
Wallace.
Yes. Martin Wallace.
Yeah. Bloodstones is a really cool asymmetrical war game. You have all these lovely pieces which are like Bakelite, kind of like dominoes almost. Your forces are your resources. They're your forces on the board. They could be power in battles. It's all done on a bag drawing system as well. And you're out on these maps of all varying shapes and sizes. There's loads of options. You have very, very asymmetrical sides in that they have different terrain types that they prefer, different terrain types that they're better in or traverse easier. They have different maybe types of units that are more powerful in certain ways or very powerful in certain ways and very weak in other ways. And you could have different, like, everybody's kind of got like their version of cavalry or their version of normal troops, their version of scout troops, their versions of boats, etc., their version of like leaders and stuff like that. But then you might have different ratios of them. So certain things might have more cavalry and less troops, etc., etc. And you're trying to go through various scoring phases of capturing people's villages. The more you've captured, the more points you'll get. The more villages you have out, the more points you'll get. And it's just so cool. It just does what it does really, really well. Does it again. It's like one of these things where you kind of look at it and you go, okay, cool, it's a war game. Well, yeah, it is a war game, but it doesn't work like just every other war game kind of thing. Like I said, all your stuff is your stuff in so many different ways. It's like your resources and wealth to get more stuff out on the board and in the land, and you'll get your troops out and stuff like that. Then it's also like when you're drawing for power in a battle, you might supplement some of those things that are in your hand, as it were. You stack them kind of like dominoes, like you would like have them in front of you so people can't see them. You might replace something in your where you draw from a bag in a fight to have how much power you've got in that fight. But then it's not easy to just have a fight. You can't just go, oh, march in here, we have a fight, because they could retreat, and you could end up in a real cat and mouse situation where you're just like, for fuck's sake, I just need to, I need to pin you down, kind of thing. Yeah, truly, I think, truly brilliant game, beautifully produced. Doesn't quite look like anything else. Doesn't quite play like anything else. Martin Wallace games for me are super hit and miss. He's probably one of the most hit and miss designers for me. Yeah. I can slam so hard off a Martin Wallace game, but also be so fully immersed in a Martin Wallace game. Very little middle ground for me with his style of games. But for Bloodstones, for me, just absolutely nailed it. Like truly nailed it. I think it's absolutely fantastic design. I can't wait to see when they add more races in with the expansion. Think it's a little bit like where you get these like blockbuster movies that everybody likes, and then you might be talking movies with somebody, and then somebody goes, oh yeah, but have you seen so and so movie? And it's that little cult classic that not too many people know about. But he goes, oh yeah, I fucking love that movie. And you're like, yeah, you and me. Yeah. I get you. Like, you get me.
When somebody says
that's what Bloodstones is, so
Brotherhood of the Wolf or something like that.
Yeah.
You just go,
exactly.
Hey!
Yeah. Hey! Yeah. It's one of those types of games where I think truly clever people really like it. It's just really good.
What is it with you and people on a minibus? That's what I want to know.
I'm a snob.
I'm not going to say anything more.
Yeah, cracking game. Bloodstones, Martin Wallace. My game of the year, whether it was quite a 2024 game.
Well, I'm hitting something which is.
I didn't play it till 2024 either.
So there you go.
It might, yeah.
My number one.
What is your
my
number
one is a game that I have.
I'm trying to think what it is.
Went from nowhere to going. This game is potentially not only going to be number one here, but is really, really seriously going to be top 3 of all time for me.
This is a new game this year. This is a 2024 game, or is
there's variations of it have been released this year. It's Flesh and Blood, the card game.
Oh, fuck. Right. Wow. Oh, yeah. Definitely not a 2024 game.
No.
But certainly for you, it's a 2024
Oh, yeah.
game. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Really? Wow. Number one. Game of the year.
Game of the year. Yeah.
You have waxed lyrical about this.
It just
super enamored
it just
with it.
hits me in all the right places, and it's kind of gone on to being like, it's set decks, so it's not pay to win. Yeah, that you can, you get the feeling of actually being involved in the battle with the way that the blows are traded.
buy
It's
booster
not
packs for
just What's that?
You don't buy booster packs for it.
You can do.
Right. Okay.
You can do, but
I just thought I'd misunderstood something.
No,
completely
you
about
can
it.
do,
Right.
but they've got this whole blitz deck system, which is like, you know, you got a series, it's like, there you go, preset, pre-designed, cards ready to go, take them out. But as I've said before, it's like the kind of the scope of the game just is magnificent from kind of like people, it's just genuinely two people going at it in an arena fighting and using whatever skills they have to defeat each other. And it's like, it can be like an orc against a knight, against a ninja, against a magic user, it's just all these different whimsical, wonderful things. And it's just the whole mechanics of just, I'm going to punch you, right? Okay, well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to block the damage. Okay, well, I get to go again, so I'm going to punch you again because I played this card easily. And it's just the kind of the way you pay for cards, and the fact that you're not, it's not one of these, it's not like Star Wars Unlimited where you have kind of set energy. Every round you're looking at your hand of cards and saying, right, what cards am I going to sacrifice here to pay for the other cards in my hand? And then you only ever refresh your cards. You don't refresh them at the end of every round. You only refresh your cards at the end of your turn. Which means that then if you're going on defense, if you're going to defend, if then your enemy's attacking you and you're playing cards to defend, you can leave yourself with absolutely nothing to attack them on the next round. So sometimes you're having to take a slap across the head because you know I'm going to take 2 points of damage here because I know in the next round I've now got a combo that I can hit you for 15 and slap you on your back. So there's all these little, it's like the little, like just as an example of the ninjas, the costs on the cards for the ninja basically are usually like 0. There's one of the most famous kind of characters is somebody called Katsu. And basically what it says, if you've played a head kick with your previous card, you can go again and play this card. And if you've if you've played this card, you can play this card, then you can play this card, then you can play this card, then you can play this card. So it's literally like somebody doing like a series of martial art moves where they're smacking the other person and there's not really anything you can do about it. Or there's the one where you're charging your sword. So if you hit this person, then you charge your sword with extra damage. If you manage to get it again, so you hit them again, and as long as you're hitting them and getting through their defense, you build up the power to the point where you're just basically taking that last kind of smack. It's just, it doesn't seem to be, it seems to have a good kind of balance of, yes, I mean, you can buy booster packs and things like that, but you can sit down with your friends and just play. I mean, I guess if you want to. It's not like say like and the reason that, as I say, Star Wars Unlimited is further down the list is because you get like a booster, you get two decks on every kind of new release that they have, and that's the only 2 decks that you have. Whereas Flesh and Blood seem to be releasing like 4 or 5 new like old characters and blitz packs and stuff like that just give you a little army that you can be playing. You know what I mean? It's just yeah, it's just it's fantastic. I get excited thinking about it. I've got like the buy the same tokens for it. I've got like multiple kind of game mats for it, like just to kind of have it all laid out. I've got little boxes to keep everything in.
Do you play it with your boys mainly?
I played it with. I usually play it with people at the club.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to get more kind of people involved in it as well, because it's just...
And it is definitely not a 2024 game. I think it was released in 2018.
There you go. It's definitely not. But then again, I am old. I am stubborn, and I'm running with this. But they have just released, as I
2019, so 2019.
They have just released like a new. They've got a new hunted kind of deck box coming out over the next kind of couple of months.
I tell you what, though, fucking good on them. 5 years that's been going
exactly.
Now. And that's not easy in the CCG space.
Exactly.
You know, I get it's probably not quite as big as it was at a certain point, because at one point it was really, everybody seemed to be, you know, if you were any lover of CCGs, a lot of people were playing Flesh and Blood, and I don't see that quite as much now. Yeah. But still, that's damn good that it's still going. You know, a lot of CCGs don't last much over 3 years, or certainly historically haven't lasted much over 3 or 4 years, you know.
I think it's because there's people that I think there's people that are quite happy just to play with the Blitz decks, so they get the new Blitz decks every kind of 3 to 6 months or whatever, and they're quite happy to try them out and get the combinations and get nice little yeah, exactly. Or the people that are really, really serious with it. There's always going to be people that are going to buy every single kind of box of boosters, but they're collectors. They're not necessarily interested in playing, but it's just great to be able to go, like, have a lineup and just say, right, okay, randomly I'm going to select this Blitz deck and let's see what happens. And also know that you're never seemingly going to be facing a character you can't take on. And I've seen that again with like I hate going back to Star Wars Unlimited, but I've been in a situation where I've played Star Wars Unlimited where I've went, I might as well go home because there's no way I can do anything about it.
Yeah, I remember you saying like you had a load of first edition stuff, then your mate had a load of the second wave stuff, and your mate was just beating on you.
There's nothing I could do about it.
You're like, oh, okay, right, that's the way it is.
Guess I'll go home now. But with Flesh and Blood, it's like, as I say, I could play Katsu deck, who's one of the first people that was out there, and I can play it with a new kind of like Dash deck or something like that. I know that they can go at it with each other, and then it'll come up to a close thing, and it's pretty easy to learn. The main mechanics are just. It is the fact it feels like a proper fight and not just, right, I'm going to hit you for 6, how many are you defending? It's just the fact you get one action, and if you've got to go again, you can try and hit them again, but they can then, it's just, I get excited even kind of just talking about it, because it's just, it's there up with kind of...
How easy is it to get earlier stuff? Like the whole Blitz deck thing sounds really good. How easy it to get the earlier release Blitz decks? Are they still produced?
I don't know if they're still about. I've not tried to. I've not gone down that rabbit hole. But you can pick up stuff. You can pick up older stuff if you want. There's always somebody selling it because it's a CCG. Because it's set. I think booster decks. I mean, obviously you can buy a box of boosters and people will go ahead and buy them, but that doesn't stop you from getting the Blitz decks. I think it's almost like 2 separate kind of crowds.
You've never been tempted to deck build with it at all?
Not yet. I'm just enjoying
Nice.
I'm just enjoying the kind of the microwave meal. There we go. Take that off. Take that out. Stick it in. See what happens. You don't.
Sounds like it's almost like Flesh and Blood has 2 types of game.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's the Blitz side of it. Here's the casual fun. Yeah. Contained. Yeah. Almost like an LCG. Rather than a CCG, and then there's the CCG side of it, where it's like, you ultra competitive people, here you go. That's tune it to your heart's content.
Mix it, you can mix and match your different styles and things like that, and put together a deck. But it's very much like Ashes Reborn, in that they've got fixed kind of decks. And that you've got a fixed deck, I've got a fixed deck, and you just go out there and kind of play it against each other. So that's why I guess it kind of resonates with me, because I see a lot of Ashes when I'm playing Flesh and Blood. So that's my number 1.
Fabulous. What a year it's been. It has been a good year. Very quickly, because I am very, very aware of the time. Looking forward to playing. I'm just going to rattle these off very quickly. Battalion from Osprey Games
I'm currently in the process of kind of learning that, hoping to get that to the table soon. But it seems very much a kind of it's like a diet Total War, basically putting your units together, giving them their strength, dealing with your tactics, how you're fighting against people, and it looks an awful lot of fun. One of my friends has got SETI, which there's been buzzing about all year about SETI. SETI's apparently, SETI's been in kind of like a lot of people have been picking that up, and I think it was the Essen game, wasn't it? Essen Spiel. It was
definitely one of them.
It
was
everybody
one of the
liked a little bit of SETI on Essen Spiel. The other one would be Kinfire Council. Which is incredible. I think it's Incredible Dream Games. So far they've been knocking it out the park. Kinfire Chronicles was a fantastic kind of kind of dungeon-y crawler kind of adventure game. Gloomhaven kind of game.
Of Kinfire stuff from yourself and
Kingfire Delve.
Z and Camilla love it.
Yeah.
I think Delve was like one of their games of the year. I think.
Delve was a lot of fun.
I think like Delve was Z and Camilla's in both of their top 3 games for this year. Yeah, I think
Delve was a fun game.
Pretty glowing review.
Delve was a fun game. So the one I'm looking forward to getting hold of this year is Kinfire Council, which is kind of like moving into their kind of Euro direction of the games. So I'm going to see how that goes. And that's the ones I'm kind of primarily you'll see me kind of looking for. The only other one would be Callisto. Osprey.
Undaunted Callisto.
Undaunted Callisto would be the only one I'd be looking to see.
Yeah, I do. I think I'll probably will pick that up at some point.
Yeah, same here. What about yourself? With 2025?
So, for myself, Dark Quarter, which looks like it'll finally be arriving from Lucky Duck. It's been a very, very, very delayed game. If you like Destinies and you like Chronicles of Crime, which I love both, and you want something that's app-based but also comes from the kind of most consistent knock it out the park app people, and Lucky Ducky are your people. So Dark Quarter, which is like this sort of brooding set in New Orleans, investigative, might have a slightly Cthulhu-esque kind of thing about it going on. And, looks friggin' awesome. Well, it looked friggin' awesome 3 years ago or 4 years ago when they first funded it, So hopefully it'll live up to its delayed promise. Another one that's kind of really intrigues me, the game Xia Legend of the Drift System?
Yes.
Right, open world sci-fi. The fantasy version of that is coming. Arydia Paths We Dare Tread, which is this fantasy open world campaign-y kind of thing. It could be very interesting. I hear very good things about Xia Legend of the Drift System. Never played it, but this is another one massively delayed, but much smaller company. A bit of not quite a one-man band, but not a million miles off it. Certainly, got funded literally just before COVID. All the reasons we've heard, from many, but there's kept plugging away, and I think it's fine. It's about to land. Then another one, the third one I'm really, really looking forward to is a miniatures game system called Dragon Rampant. Which is one of the, if you know them, the Osprey Blue Book series. Gaslands came from Blue Book.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So I'm instantly interested.
So the Blue Book series from Osprey are miniatures agnostic rule systems. Yeah. So they're like, you need these miniatures or any miniatures of this style or ilk, and they make some truly fantastic games are in the Blue Book system. And then the Rampant system is a fantasy miniatures agnostic system. There's 3 versions of Rampant. There's Xenos Rampant, which is essentially sci-fi miniatures game, so like 40k-esque or whatever, miniatures agnostic. And then there's Lion Rampant, which is kind of medieval historical wargaming miniatures agnostic. And then there's Dragon Rampant, which is fantasy. So my son, who he said to me the other day, he goes, or said to me about a week ago, because I really think I want to do a dwarf army, Dad. And I was like, cool. Done. Sounds good. Yeah. So I went out to the shed and I got him a dwarf army because I had one sitting in there that I hadn't done anything with. Wonderful. And it was basically sat ready to go. So this is a fantasy miniature system, but it's round based, not rank and file, so not blocks of troops, so much more convenient. And basically the way you build your army is it doesn't come with the dwarf army or the goblin army. So I'm redoing my goblin army at the moment and having great fun with that. So I'm making this cave goblin fungus mushroom spider goblin army. So if you know squigs from Warhammer, which are basically just like big angry row of teeth and an arsehole, as Billy Connolly used to say. So yeah, I'll do a goblin. He's a dwarf army. And the way you build an army is it's got like, so it'll have the hero character, and then you've got all these different special rules that you could add to create theme. Then you've got like light troops, heavy troops, blah blah blah, and all these different special rules you can add, which could be detrimental troops. So like, say you had like a unit of tortoise warriors, you could give them the big shiny armor special rule, so that they're tougher and they're stronger and stuff like that. So it's got like generic like light cavalry, heavy cavalry, magic users, blah 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 blah, and you build your army to fit the narrative of your army. So there's no kind of like, there's the Dragon Rampant book, and that's all the book you need. You don't need the Orc and Goblin book. You don't need the Dwarf book, the Undead book, the this book, the that book, this supplement, that supplement. So it's I think a really good place for him to start in his kind of proper full-on miniatures gaming life, which he's desperately trying to get into because he's aspires to his father, which is his mistake to make.
There you go. He'll learn.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is where we shall leave it at that.
Thank you, everybody. That was fabulous.
That was the year. So we're going to see what happens with 2025.
It's going to be a good one, I think.
It is going to be a good one.
There's going to be a lot of goodies out there.
And if you've listened along tonight and you think, oh, this has been a batch of goodies in itself, then you know what to do. Just tell other people about us. If people are talking about podcasts and reviews and who you should be listening to and who we should be watching and reading and everything like that, then remember and mention us, because it makes us very, very happy indeed. There's only 2 more things to do, and that's to say it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye. It's a goodbye
from me.
From Mr. Deep Voice, Deep Throat himself. And remember, stay safe, roll sixes, make something awful, and
stay spicy.
But until the next time, goodbye. See, I can do it too.
That was good.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.